Good morning, guys. I'm Pam with 44 Marketplace, and I'm going to go over some tips on helping you spray Dixie Belle paint. As you can tell, we're inside my paint booth where I've got excellent lighting and a ventilation system, which is what you can hear in the background, and that's needed to spray paint. Not dressed up. This is how I spray paint every day. While I'm spraying, I wear a breather. Even though Dixie Belle is no VOCs, I still like to be protected. So this is how I spend my day lots of days. I have a couple of different sprayers that I'm going to show you. This one connects to an air compressor. It's made by Husky. It works really well. It has a couple of different size cups that you can use, and it's gravity fed. Then I have my Erlex, which is my go-to gun. It has a much wider spray pattern and it's on turbine, so it does not connect to the air compressor, and holds much more paint as far as spraying a piece of furniture. The biggest things you need to know are straining your paint. If it's the first time that you've used your paint, then don't worry about straining it. If it's the second or any time thereafter, you need to strain your paint to be sure that you don't clog your sprayer. You can use one of these, or you can use cheesecloth, whichever you'd rather. And another thing to remember is when you're spraying your paint, make sure that it is not a wrist motion. It needs to be an arm motion, because if it's a wrist motion, then you're going to be farther away from your piece at certain points than you are other. Another thing to remember is diluting your paint. When you're using an air compressor spray gun like the first one that I showed you, I usually use about 2 to 3 ounces of Floetrol with 8 ounces of paint, and that works for me. With my Erlex, I use 3 or 4 ounces to 8 ounces of paint, and I use Floetrol most of the time because Floetrol actually only affects the viscosity, whereas if you use water, it affects both the viscosity as well as the color. So you need to keep that in mind when you're diluting the paint. But most systems come with a viscosity cup, so that once you've got your paint mixed up, how fast it drips out of here will test your viscosity, and that will give you the answer you need as to whether your paint is diluted enough. There's lots of other things to go over, but really practice is what makes it work. Thanks for listening.